Good afternoon from Spain. That's where I am now. I recognize some of you. Just to do a little bit of an introduction. I'm an ESOL teacher. I've been teaching for the past 8 years in Spain. I've worked with students from many different backgrounds. And I'm excited to be here today to do this presentation with all of you. And today we're going to talk about a topic related to ESOL, which is teaching, listening, speaking, and reading in the ESOL classroom, strategies and techniques for ESOL skill development.
Now, some people may not know what ESOL is.
Yeah, teaching English to speakers of other languages. Okay, teaching English to speakers of other languages. So I'm going to get into just very briefly, some strategies and techniques. Some of you have come to a pronunciation class of mine, also another class where we talked about methods, teaching methods related to ESOL. But today we're going to focus on these four skills, 3 skills: listening, speaking, and reading. All right. The objectives of this class is to understand how to teach listening, speaking, and reading to ESOL learners, learn practical strategies, explore classroom activities that students can do, promote fluency, pronunciation, and reading comprehension. Okay, so why focus on these 3 skills? To remind you, listening, speaking, and reading, those are the 3 we're focusing on today. It's a foundation for all language learning. They're interconnected. Improvement in one skill often supports the others. And they are vital, they're important for academic and real world communication. All right, so we're going to look at teaching listening, key strategies. First one, so when you're teaching listening to ESOL students, you have to focus on 3 different strategies. The first one is a pre-listening. So this is to activate prior knowledge and to predict content that you're going to see or listen to. It could be a video, a podcast. While you are listening, you listen for gist or details. So that's content. So you're listening for specific content. You can use things like graphic organizers, and I will show you what that is. And then you have a post listening. So after you do the listening exercise, you can summarize, discuss with your teacher, and then apply the new vocabulary. When you apply new vocabulary, you can do so in a way, you can do it through role play. There are many different ways to do this. Okay. And there's a tip for this, is to use real life audio. So podcasts, dialogues, and announcements. Now, I'm going to show you this in action. Okay, so we're going to focus on the pre-listening part. And we're going to watch just a little bit of a video called How You Will Lose Your Job to AI. So the question is, what do you think? I would like you to put your answers in the chat. What do you think this video is about based on the title, How You Will Lose Your Job to AI? So this is the predicting part of the listening. This is the pre-listening, okay, before watching the video. So if you can put in the chat, what do you think the video is going to be about? I'm going to look for answers in the chat. Someone, not yet. I'll give you guys a moment. Or if you want to speak, you can. Some of you like to speak a lot during the class, so I have a few I recognize here. Anyone? Okay, chat. Here we go. About how AI works. It's about the automation of jobs that robots will be taking over. Okay. AI will be too much of a competitive factor, maybe. How AI lesson will stimulate the learner's interest. Okay, could be. Very good answers. Very good predictions. Okay. All right, so I'm going to continue. So during this part of the pre-listening, you want to, what I do with my students is I prompt students to list words connected to AI in jobs. So example, robot, automation, someone said this in the chat, future, replace, technology, employment. And then with my students, I discuss why these words are relevant and how they predict the video's theme. Okay, so for example, also as a part of the pre-listening task with my students, I would focus on 5 key terms: automation, replace, economy, and future scenario. And it's best to give an example of each vocabulary word. So for example, you have the definition, and then you have the example. So let's look at, for example, future scenario, a possible situation that could happen in the future. Example, the video shows a future scenario where AI does most jobs. And then I have a task that my students do while they are watching the video, okay? So now during this part of the class, I would like you to listen, okay, for some key words. Listen for some important parts, some key points in the video, and then we will talk about it after, okay? Maybe I won't play the entire video because we don't have enough time, but I'm going to play maybe 2 minutes of the video. So I want to make sure that everyone can first hear the audio. I am sharing the sound. So please, I would say maybe give me a thumbs up if you can hear. Okay, let's do a little test.
Everyone thinks there are only 2 endings for the AI evolution. The first is that AI remains a helpful tool, but never outsmarts us.
Can you hear? Yes, everyone can hear? Dr. Lammer, you can hear? Yes? Okay, I'm seeing everyone can hear. Okay,
Yes, yes, we can hear
perfect.
perfectly.
Awesome. I'm going to actually put on the subtitles because I think that's helpful. So,
Everyone thinks there are only 2 endings for the AI evolution. The first is that AI remains a helpful tool, but never outsmarts us. Or the second, AI goes full-blown evil, like Skynet, and wipe us out. Turned out, there was a third ending. For the ending to make sense, we have to go back. The year was 2010. Humans, and more specifically, Jim, were in stage 1 of losing their jobs. In 2010, Jim was fresh out of college. He landed a data entry gig. Every day, he punched in data from one place to another. It was boring as heck, but it paid the bills, and Jim knew he had to survive first if he was determined to become a writer. His first job, however, was short-lived. AI was already in its infancy, with rule-based systems showing up everywhere. These systems, precise and unerring, could automate any process that had clear-cut instructions, making routine jobs redundant. Clerks, typists, assembly workers, and Jim were the first humans to lose their jobs to AI. It was a blessing in disguise for Jim. Looking back, it pushed him to chase his writing dreams harder, landing him a creative job at an ad agency which sheltered him against the second stage of AI. AI then had context awareness and retention. At this stage, AI systems could understand and interpret the context of the data.
okay, so I'm just going to pause the video here. And I know some of this language may be difficult to understand, but I think with the animations, it's a bit easier. So tell me in the chat, what do you think is happening so far in the first minute and 30 seconds? What is happening in this video? Fire a job and creating the new job. Okay. You can also speak too. If you want to speak, you can use the raise hand function on Zoom. You prefer to speak. New jobs because of AI for humans. Okay. AI CC, AI automation through picture, as well as new job process to fail if you aren't if you aren't mastering AI more. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Lambert. I see your message in the chat. Okay. So just to give you an idea, and this is something that I do with my students. So this would be more of an advanced resource that I'm using here, more of an advanced lesson that I would use. But as you saw before, we did the pre-listening. I asked you, we did a prediction. What do you think the video is about? I pulled vocabulary from the video. And now we're doing the listening. So normally I do this with my students. I play the video and then I stop and we discuss. Okay, Nicole said, I was a worker who didn't like, his repetitive job and was doing it just to pay the bills. In the end, a robot took over his job, which is more efficient. I saw. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what happens, actually. Yes. Okay. All right, so I'm going to move on for time purposes. The post-listening task, which we kind of just did, actually. So once students have watched the video, you can follow up with, for example, oh, sorry, let me go forward. So a reflection discussion, which job from the video surprised you most? Now, we did not see the whole video because we don't have time, but you guys will receive these materials after the class. So you can look at it on your own time if you want. A comprehension check, name 2 tasks AI is already doing. This is actually a great, this is something you guys can answer in the chat. Name 2 tasks AI is already doing. If you want to use the raise hand function or write it in the chat. I have another comment here. Self-checking at stores. Yes. Great example, Nicole. Storytelling. Automated operators. See. Loading of items in shops. Ah, okay. Yes. So sometimes you also have this in Amazon, right? They have robots, mini robots, loading things, correcting texts, papers. Okay, great. Good examples. Okay. Another example of a post-listening activity would be a role play. So I could say work in pairs and role play a conversation between a worker and an AI consultant. Okay, can you think of more listening activities that students can do? I would like you guys to speak now instead of using the chat so we can get some more voices besides just hearing myself this whole time. So what are some more listening activities for English learners? Okay, someone raised their hand. Let's see. I don't see. Okay, you can come off mute. Someone just raised their hand. Agnes Michelle. Agnes Michelle? No, I hope I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
For instance, listening to a command given by AI, that's instructions, and then acting on them.
For listening activity. Is that what you're referring to? Mhm.
Yeah, you listen to a command given or instruction given,
Ah.
and then you listen to it.
Yes, yes, that's a good example. Yes, that's a great, excellent. Yes. Okay, great, thank you. Wow, we have a lot of hands up. I love this. Okay, CC, you can unmute. I think your hand's up. Or Bonita, you can unmute yourself. Cici, I can't hear you. I see you speaking, but
we have Alexa,
no.
Amazon AI assistant tools that can ring song morning, midday, and afternoon, and maybe give you the time to wake up and so on. And we have also the English learning automation by AI. English learning,
Yes.
yes.
Do you
We have
use
more.
this?
We have many of. Yes.
Yeah. You use it? Do you
Yes,
use
yes.
the okay. And is
Yeah,
it do you
because
do you like it?
because I have a English learning fluent English learning professional level program learning, so I use these tools. And for my daily life, I use Alexa, which is a automation assistant from Amazon.
Uh-huh.
Every morning, afternoon, midday, tell me
Yes.
what time it's time to wake up, it's time to go to
Yeah.
bed, it's time to do anything for the day.
Yeah. But you use Alexa in English?
Yes, in English, of course, of
Good.
course.
Yes. Yeah, so it's a way to practice your daily routine, right? Yeah, yeah, it's great. Thank you, Cici, for sharing. That's a great example. Okay, so I'm gonna mute you now. Okay, perfect. Bonita or Ismail? 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 You can unmute yourself. I can't hear you.
I'm sorry for that.
Hi.
Yeah,
No worries.
yeah. Actually, the students can involve themselves, or let me say, sorry, themselves in active listening techniques.
Okay.
Yeah, by listening to audio materials.
Mm-hmm.
No, just to be active, engaging in active audio listening materials or taking of notes, and this will help them. And again,
Yes.
they can use varieties of materials, like the way you said in the early of the presentation, you talk about the podcast and the videos and even conversation. They can involve in a conversation, maybe being exposed to conversation learnings, and this will help them.
Yes, that's a great example. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Bonita? I saw you should put your camera on. Yes, hi. You can, I can't hear you. Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Could,
Now,
Thank you.
now I can hear you. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So some more listening activities would be for students to engage in debates, discuss current issues, exchange ideas in the debates, so that they can generate information, do the research and so on, and present perspectives based on current issues. For example, how valuable is AI? They can debate and have discussions on that. Or what can we do to secure our jobs, given that AI is such an invasive aspect? It's not going anywhere. We've got to learn to live with it.
Yes.
Thank you.
And do you mean just one question? So this
Yes.
that's a great example, debating. That's, I think, would be more of a speaking exercise. So what can they do before? That could be a post-listening exercise. So
Mhm.
what can they do before? So imagine they have a debate. What can they do before?
Okay, perhaps they can listen to a great speech that somebody might have made about the issue, and
Right.
then they can have a discussion, a debate on those opinions, issues, and that have been presented.
Yes, perfect example. Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
Okay, I'm gonna go to show Q and then I'm gonna move on, okay? Or we could be here all day. Show Q. Okay. I can't hear you. Ah, no, you don't want to speak. Okay. Okay, let me just check the chat before I move on. And someone said, give the baby a toy. Ismail, I saw the chat. Okay, I'm going to move on. All right. So now we're going to look at teaching speaking core techniques. Encourage meaningful interaction, use scaffolding. Okay, scaffolding in teaching means that you have it's to make the process easier for a student. Okay, so you start very little and then you progress. That's what scaffolding is. So that's kind of similar to the listening exercise. You have a pre-listening where you do the predictions, the vocabulary. So that's kind of a good example. Focus on fluency before accuracy. Correct gently. Okay, so correct gently and constructively. So always with my students, I am always correcting them, not telling them, oh, that's wrong. No, that's not correct. No, it's we always want to model the correct way of speaking for students. Okay, some speaking activities. Bonita did give us some examples already, such as role plays and dialogues, debate or opinion sharing. You can do a find someone who. So for example, I could say, find someone who in the classroom uses ChatGPT every day, for example. That would be an example. Find someone who has traveled to the United States. Okay, that would be an example. Show and tell. Okay, so for example, children bring something to the classroom and they show it to the class and they tell their classmates about it. So it could be a book, it could be a toy that they have at home. And then also personal presentations. Okay, we're now going to look at an example after, but can you think of more speaking activities? Now, what are some more speaking activities? You can raise your hand again if you can think of more speaking activities. Ismail? You can unmute yourself, Ismail.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry for the distraction,
No, your baby is very
Yeah, yeah, I'm a
calm.
little bit distracted in my mind too, because I'm the only one with them at home. Their mom
No
is not there.
problem. You're doing
Yeah,
great. Don't worry.
yeah, thank you. So let me go directly to the answer. It's okay,
Okay.
uncle. Yeah, at first, we can use feedback mechanism
Mm-hmm.
now by providing constructive feedback
Yeah.
on pronunciation, intonation, and the grammar to help students improve their speaking skills.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great. So
yeah.
the
Likewise,
Mhm.
hello. Likewise, we can use encouragements of peer interaction.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
so yeah, this foster an environment where students feel comfortable practicing their speaking skills with peers.
Yeah, that's great. So I think those are like techniques, right? Those are techniques to prepare students for speaking activities. Okay. Those
Yeah,
are good examples. Okay, thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Okay. I saw another hand raise.
I see from Cece and Shok.
Okay, Cece.
Okay.
Okay,
Mm.
just very simple. I put in the chat box. We have
Oh,
two cases of speaking activities. Like we have peer-to-peer speaking in English learning. We can
that's great.
make up two groups of student learning English, and peer by peer they can speak into other, and using AI tools. You can have AI tools translating from one peer to the other peer student.
Yes,
Second, you have
yes.
interaction between yourself exercise by an automation assistant, AI assistant. Yourself, you speak with an automation assistant for your own your self learning or your self
Yeah, it's
speaking
like an AI agent, kind of.
agent. Okay,
Yeah,
automation or assistant or
yeah.
agent assistant and so on. Okay, we
Yes,
have more like this, so maybe
yes,
we can find another one.
yes. Thank you, Sissy. Great example. Okay, I'm gonna check the time here. Okay, we have time for one more. Yes. No one's raising their hand. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Someone wrote in the chat, asking learners to describe two pictures, telling similarities and differences. Yeah, that's a good, excellent answer. I would say Agostino is your name. That's how I would pronounce it. Thank you. Good example. Okay, I'm going to show you an example, a real example in a classroom. So I'm going to play a video here if it loads. I hope it does. Yes, awesome. Okay.
So this activity that we're about to watch is called parallel pair work. It's another way of doing a discussion without the learners sitting passively at tables. Just get them to stand up in two lines facing each other, and then they talk in pairs.
Time's up, May. Yes, very good. Awesome. I heard lots of really, really good ideas. So now we're going to share our ideas and then decide on the best one for a class trip.
Once you make it clear to your learners what the actual objective of the task is, they'll be more motivated to actually complete it.
So we'll choose which one we like the best. So you're going to share your ideas with each other. When you're sharing your ideas, you should ask some questions. So if I ask you to go on a hike with me this weekend, what questions would you ask me about the hike?
Where will we go?
Good, yeah. So you can ask where. Where will we go?
What will you bring?
What will I bring?
So instead of just saying the right answer, what I liked is that she's done a little gap on the board to prompt them to think about what that missing word is. And that's a really nice way for them to correct themselves, rather than the teacher just providing all the answers the entire time. That's really, really good.
What will
we bring?
Yeah, which word should we use here? What? Yes, very good. What should we bring? Oh, well, you should bring plenty of water.
Again,
You should
modeling,
bring some
really
sun
good.
cream in case it's sunny. And you should bring a poncho in case it rains. You can bring a hiking pole because it's very steep.
And again, what she's doing here is in the model answers that she's giving, she's actually saying, I should bring something because yada, yada, yada. And all the reasons that she's giving now is indicating to them in a more subtle way that they should be longer to give reasons behind it, which extends that practice, extends that fluency.
Okay, so just to discuss a little bit about what is happening, who can kind of give me an idea or explain to me sort of what is happening in the video? You can raise your hand or you can use the chat. Okay, so what is this speaking activity? What are they doing? What are they doing in the video? Sharing the idea? Okay. Okay. Planning for a trip. Yes, Bonita, yes. Bonita said planning for a trip. And because Bonita, you put the correct answer in there, I'm wondering if you can come off of mute and tell me what is she doing here with the missing words? Can you explain that to us? If you don't mind coming off. Yes, I'll unmute. Let me find you. Okay.
Okay, to me, she's given them a chance to do their own corrections, to think critically about what they're going to do. And then once they get into all of this discussion, then they're going to be able to take ownership for what they're going to do, for what the plans are. So that's my thing. They help letting them put in the blank, fill in the blanks and so on, helps them
Fill in
to
the
take
blanks.
ownership and gets them to be more fluent in the ideas that they want to share.
Yes, exactly. Lovely answer. Excellent answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Someone said discussing because. Yeah, maybe why are they taking, I would say it's more of I think she's going to talk about the why soon. She's discussing where, what. You can see here sun cream, right? So a question she could use is, why do you need sun cream when you go hiking, or something like that? Providing the reasons why they should bring the items, Nicole. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Okay, let's move on. So can you think of, we did that. Can you think of more speaking activities? Okay. So we have discussed at the moment listening and speaking. Okay. I put in just a slide here about pronunciation. I have done an entire class on it, so I don't want to get too much into detail, but pronunciation is important for everything. So for reading, for speaking, for listening, it's very, very important. So that's why I added this slide. Improving pronunciation focuses on stress, rhythm, stress, and intonation. Ismail, you mentioned that before about pronunciation. You can do things like using minimal pairs. You can integrate pronunciation in all speaking tasks, as I had mentioned just now. This is an example of a
Rachel,
minimal pair.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
How do you present vocabulary for these exercises?
How do I present vocabulary?
Like, do you give a list before the exercise starts to kind of, how do you do that?
Yeah, so for example, I'm going to give an example like with my younger students. I think this is because I have a lot of experience with my younger students. For example, I use a lot of visuals. So I would take like flashcards, and on one side I would have a picture, let's say, of a hat. And then on the other side, it would say the word hat. So that's just kind of an example. I would do like normally with my younger students a vocabulary game, like as a pre-task exercise. I would do some kind of game like that with flashcards. And that would get them to, and then maybe I would show them a video, and then they will see those words again in that video, something like that. With my adult students, normally I provide a list first. And we discussed those vocabulary words before. That's normally what I would do. Okay, so the minimal, let me go back. Sorry. The minimal pair activity. So this is a word a sound that many non-native speakers struggle with, which is the TH sound, the th. So because it doesn't exist in many languages. So for example, think and sink. So I would have a lot of my students go through a list of words of minimal pairs to put. First, I would actually, as a pre-task, we would look at this sound, and then we would look at this sound. And then after, we would do a minimal pair activity, or we would do a reading with these words. So this is just an example of a way that you can help students improve their pronunciation. So actually, maybe it's a good idea if someone can go through this list and read these words out loud to me. Can anyone participate? Cece, I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, okay. The exercise is for minimal pairs pronunciation activities.
Yes,
Right,
yes, we're
right.
comparing. Yes, we're comparing two sounds. So for example, let me model it for you. So for example, think, sink, thin, sin, thank, sank, throw. You can see here, my tongue's going between my teeth. Throw, so, three, see, like Cece.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So what to do now?
Go through the list and
Yes.
and you're going to really exaggerate, right? So think, sink. Try to say those two words next to each other.
Think, sink,
Good.
think, sink,
Now,
thin, sin, thin, see,
good.
and tank, sunk, and the
Okay.
throw, so,
So,
like see, yeah, so, and
Mhm.
three, see.
Okay,
But,
good.
so my question is, what is the contribution for the AI
No,
agent
no,
assistant here?
this is not related to AI, okay?
Okay.
The AI part of the class was
Okay.
related to listening, okay? So I gave an example of a lesson that I would do with my students, and I used the AI video as an example. So
Okay.
now this is a different part. Yes.
I
Thank you
see.
so much. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I'm going to move on. Okay, can you think of more pronunciation activities? Here you can just go in the chat, okay? More pronunciation activities. I'm looking at the time and realizing Nicole, you asked me which speakers are the ones who don't use the TH sound. Many, many, many speakers. For example, my Spanish students, they do not use the TH sound. Okay. So for example, Nicole, let me give you an example. My Spanish students typically, instead of saying Thursday, they would say Tuesday. So the TH sound, they replace it with a T because the TH does not exist in Spanish. Does that answer your question? Nicole, you can, I don't know if you have your camera on. What for you? Interesting. Okay, you understood. Okay. Okay, more pronunciation activities you can put in the chat. What can students do to improve pronunciation? Someone said Portuguese. Yeah, also, it's a good example. Use alliterations. Okay. Okay, I think we can move on. All right, for the last part of this class, teaching reading, essential elements. Phonics and decoding skills, sight words, vocabulary building, and reading for comprehension. Okay, I'm going to give you some reading activity examples. Reading circles, okay, where the students sit in a circle and typically the teacher reads out loud to the students and discusses the contents of a book. That's an example of a reading circle. Kids can read out loud. That's also another reading activity. Story sequencing, pair reading with retelling. Okay, I'm going to give an example now of retelling, okay, retelling a story.
Let's learn story elements. Retelling. What does it mean to retell a story? To retell a story means to tell it again. You don't say every single part of the story, just the important parts, and you say them in your own words. There are 3 steps to retelling. First, tell the setting and characters in the story. The setting may have been a park, or the moon, or any number of places. The characters may have been a person, a talking animal, or even a one-eyed monster. The second step is to tell the problem in the story. What's wrong? The problem may have been something was too hard, or maybe the character was doing something that was new. The problem is what went wrong. The third and final step is to tell the solution. How was the problem fixed? Maybe the character asked for help, or maybe they practiced every day until they learned something. Tell how the problem got fixed. We are going to practice retelling or telling the story again. Let's use our 3 fingers to help us do that. When we tell the beginning, middle, and end, it goes perfectly with our 3 steps. At the beginning, the author usually tells us the setting and the
Okay, so I'm gonna fast forward the video.
relief.
So here in the video, they just told the story, okay?
Graham's parents had been so worried. The
Okay, now this is part of the retelling.
beginning, the setting, the characters. So what was the setting and who were the characters in this?
I'm gonna fast forward.
So there's our middle. Third, we tell would be Graham and his parents were at the zoo. He got lost and couldn't find his parents, and then an older lady helped Graham find his parents. So we told the story again in our own words, and we didn't say everything right, but we just
Okay, so I'm gonna pause it there. So can we think of more, the example I just gave was retelling, okay? So when they read a story, the students read a story, and then they retell the story in their own words, as we are seeing here. And they have to provide a beginning, middle, and end. Okay, let me check the chat real quick. Okay, so Nicole said retelling looks like very challenging activity, like a very challenging activity for a non-English speaker. Yes, this activity is probably for intermediate speakers and advanced English speakers. But I do this activity with my students a lot, especially with my intermediate students. So for example, Nicole, I would play a video for my students, such as the AI video that I showed, and I have them summarize or give me, a summary. It's not a story, but it's a video. But it's more of a speaking exercise where they retell, okay? They explain, they give me a summary of what happened in the video. So it's definitely not an exercise for young children, but there are ways that you can adapt this for young children, okay? Using a lot of pictures. There are ways that it can be adapted. Bonita, yes, this activity will help students to do critical thinking, yes. Okay, thank you, Cece, for the explanation. Retelling story is to read the story first, yes. And then put in your own words without Systematic of, okay, I understand. Okay, awesome. Okay. Can you think of more reading activities? You can put this in the chat or you can raise your hand. We only have about 5 minutes left. Ismail? Let me try to get you off mute.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, another one is this, skimming and scanning.
Skimming. Mhm.
Yeah, skimming and scanning techniques. So these teach students to identify main ideas quickly and locate specific information efficiently. Likewise, another one is a diverse text. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Diverse text. This incorporates a range of stories or novels. Let me put it this way, like fiction and non-fiction, articles and stories. All these together is to develop different reading skills and interests. Yeah.
Yeah, skimming and scanning. Yes, that is a very typical, it's a great exercise to find key information in a text. Yes, thank you so much for your example.
Yeah, welcome.
Okay. Singing the text, Nicole, yeah. Dictation. Okay, good. Raphael, bringing the story to their local level will help them understand how to tackle their problem. Okay. Dale said AI voice reading texts. Okay. Yes, we cannot avoid AI anymore. It is here. It's been a topic of this class. Okay. Okay, I just want to add one more thing here, and it's related to culturally responsive teaching. So as a teacher, I always try to use texts and topics relevant to students' lives, validate all languages and accents, So imagine I have a class with Spanish speakers. I have a class and also there are students, I don't know, let's say from Portugal. This is typical, this could happen. I have students maybe with an Indian background. I have students with Native American background. So that means that I would choose texts that are relevant. That would be an example of culturally responsive teaching, okay? Always encourage student stories and experiences. An example of an activity would be to share a reading or speaking task based on student culture. Okay, so we have 3 minutes left, so I will leave this last 3 minutes open to questions and discussion about today's class.